in their leadership rococo, leadership brababare.
It's all the serious stuff,
but with a light-hearted twist.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aghogho.
Join us 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Right here.
On Hard Facts. On Hard Facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. How's your ride to work today? Did it cost you 200 naira less than usual? I guess that means that you passed the Lekki-Epe Expressway toll gate. That toll gate has been kind of free in one direction for 3 days now. So yay to all of you who ply that route every day. I haven't paid 200 naira going home or coming to work for the past 3 days. I don't know what's going on. I should have stopped to ask why that's happening, but it's been happening for the past 3 days, and I'm thankful to have let's see, two. So that's 800 naira in my pocket. Yes? No, 600 naira. Oh God, my math is horrible. No, 1,200 naira. Yeah, see how long it took me to do that math. I'm always telling you how bad my math is. Anyways, the whole world is watching Washington, D.C. as the public impeachment probe of Donald Trump starts in the American House of Reps today. But there'll be no impeachment of me, the president of Hard Facts. I'm here to give you the best insights into today's most important topics. I'll bring them to you, I'll break them down, I'll give you the facts, and you can form an informed opinion. And any of the shows that you miss from last week, you can catch online. Go to our Facebook page, Nigeria Info FM, our Twitter handle as well, Nigeria Info FM. I'm starting with the big three as always. We have a great show for you. Nigerians react to the Senate's hate speech bill. Edo APC suspends the party national chairman. That's happening. And Nigerian boy wins math award in the UK. Now that's somebody that needs to be my friend. He wouldn't have a hard time calculating 200 naira twice a day for 3 days. On the glass ceiling today, we're continuing our look at the pressure that society mounts on people, especially women, to have children. You will be my guest this week, as always, and I'll be hearing what you have to say about that phenomenon. And on the Big Hard Fact, our news team is bringing you a special report on the Lagos House of Assembly's criticism of expatriate-owned businesses and their entry into the retail space here in Lagos. After that report, I'm going to be discussing the motion that was moved by the House and other related matters with an expert panel. So be here when that conversation comes your way. We'll wrap up with I Beg to Differ. Yes, it happens once a week now. And as usual throughout the show, we're bringing you the latest updates from the worlds of news, sports, and entertainment. But let's get started off with the big three.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three. On Hard Facts.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You know what to expect on the big three stories that everyone is talking about right now. I have to remind you that we have Rally Academy coming up at 3:45. They're going to be teaching you how to make money trading Forex. So if you want to learn from that, 3:45 is the time to look forward to having that happen. What that means is that we're going to have to work as quickly as possible. So as I'm going through the stories, start sending your thoughts in, send them via Facebook. WhatsApp is not available right now, so Facebook is where you can actually go and watch. You can see me, Facebook Nigeria Info FM. Now on the big three, we're talking about stories that everybody's talking about. Should hanging be a penalty for hate speech? Should hanging be a penalty for hate speech? Is party politics in Nigeria too chaotic? And are Nigerians more successful abroad than at home? And why? Let's get into the stories. Reactions continue to pour in over the Senate bills to criminalize hate speech and to punish fake news on social media. Many Nigerians have criticized the National Commission for the Prohibition of Hate Speeches bill. due to its prescription of life imprisonment or the death penalty. The bill says, quote, any person who commits an offense under this section shall be liable to life imprisonment, and where the act causes any loss of life, the person shall be punished with death by hanging. End of quote. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has said that by contemplating the bill, the Senate is committing hate speech and endangering Nigerians' constitutional right to free speech. Both Afenifere and Ohaneze Ndigbo, Yoruba and Igbo social cultural groups, have criticized the bill, with Ohaneze suggesting that existing laws against slander and libel and defamation are more than enough. And there's been so many more reactions to these bills. We don't really have the time to get into all of them. But basically, most of the commentators are saying two things. Number one, death by hanging is too extreme for hate speech or any verbal offense. And giving the government the ability to decide what is hate speech and what is not will leave a lot of room for abuse and repression. In most developed and industrialized nations that still have the death penalty, it is reserved for murder. The idea is that the only time an offender loses the right to life is when they took another life. And all over the world, we're seeing a movement where countries are reducing the number of crimes that are punishable by death. So some observers are asking, why is Nigeria adding one more capital offense? And on a less life and death note, but still a serious matter, the title of the bill has a grammatical error. So the bill is officially called National Commission for the Prohibition of Hate Speeches. Speeches is wrong in that context. It should be speech. Now, many people are going to say, English no be our papa language. I agree. But it is the official language of government. How could such an error escape the Senate? But aside from that, do you think execution is a fair punishment for hate speech? Do you think hate speech should be made a crime? Or do you think that Ohaneze Ndigbo is right when they say that libel and slander and defamation already cover hate speech? And on another note, how do you feel about the fact that there's a grammatical error in a bill that your Senate is discussing? Now, if you missed the show when I talked about what they defined hate speech as, when I talked about it yesterday, they define hate speech as when a person uses, publishes, presents, produces, plays, provides, distributes, and or directs the performance of any material, written and or visual, which is threatening, abusive, or insulting, or involves the use of threatening, abusive, or insulting words or behavior. Commits an offense if such persons intend to stir up ethnic hatred or having regard to all the circumstances ethnic hatred is likely to be stirred up against any person or persons from such an ethnic group in Nigeria. That's what they define hate speech is. So yes, it's quite a mouthful. But do you think that any person who's found guilty of that deserves to be sentenced to death by hanging? Do you think that's a fair punishment? Do you think hate speech should be made a crime? Or do you think that libel and slander and defamation already cover hate speech? And how do you feel about that grammatical error? It's supposed to be speech, but they're calling it the National Commission for the Prohibition of Hate Speeches. 01277 0993, 01277 1993, 01277 2993, and 01277 3993. These are the studio numbers that you can reach us by. WhatsApp isn't working right now, so don't send a WhatsApp message. Instead, send that message to Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. That's our Facebook. Nigeria Info 99.3. Hello, Archie. Welcome.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How's your day going?
Good.
Oh well. I don't want to have to use some words, but okay, I won't use those words because we're on radio.
Thank you.
I know, but
You can tweet it at me.
oh yeah, I'll put it at you definitely. But it's so sad. It's so sad. People are getting more open. Countries are getting more open to free speech and liberal thinking, and Nigeria is shutting the doors to that. There is no way we can judge what hate speech is without being subjective about it.
Well, I
That
just
is the
gave you a
truth.
definition, so can
Oh,
you
yeah.
really say
Oh,
that
yeah.
there's no way?
It's number one problem is the definition in the Nigerian books or in the Nigerian context vis-a-vis the current political situation. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two is the umpire making this judgment on what hate speech is. I mean, a couple of people have argued last week when there was that uproar on the Minister for Work, saying stuff about us overblowing, the road construction
The state of the
situation and how
roads.
bad the state of the roads are. And people clamor that qualifies to be hate speech. So what happens when a government official genuinely perpetrates hate speech? And we have instances during the election, we heard the stories of body bags and the rest of them. How isn't that hate speech? And so who judges government on the basis of hate speech? One, two.
Good question.
It's terrible when people are opening up and we want to be called a free society, a free thinking society. We want to be judged according to those free thoughts, and then we are shutting down. And it's sad because this is legislature, or this is a legislation. This is not even an executive order. Naturally, where we would see these kinds of situations is the government on an executive order saying, we're tired of this criticism and all of that, and then the boom, drop stuff. But this is legislation, which means this is about to be
A law.
a summation of a law put up by the entirety of the representation of this whole nation. It's
That's
sad.
right.
It's sad. And then it's sadder when we start thinking of what we are living for our children, when we can't speak common English, at the highest level of lawmaking. It's quite sad. This is
quite a
why
lot.
we keep saying things like we need to be more involved. But then again, how more involved can we get without being stifled by the current political class? It's sad.
Good
actually,
questions
Sandra.
you're raising, Archie. Thank you so much for calling to share your thoughts with me, Comrade eBay. Unfortunately, I have to take a quick break. Now, you can either call us back or send us a message on Facebook. I'm very sorry about that. When we come back, we'll take a look at our second story. But if you want to comment on the first story, by all means, call me as well. You're listening to The Big Three on Hard Facts.
Stay right here on the Big Three on 99.3 Nigeria Info. is the Big Three
The Big Three on Hard Facts.
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
On the Big Three today, I'm asking if hanging should be a penalty for hate speech. Is party politics too chaotic in Nigeria? And are Nigerians more successful abroad than at home? I'll talk to Comrade Ibe really quickly and then move on to our second story. Hello, Comrade Ibe.
Yeah, Sandra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling back.
Yeah. Sandra, I don't know the originator of this issue of hate speech. I would have loved that senator from Niger State, Senator Abdullahi,
Okay.
to send a bill to National Assembly to ban our government personnel traveling abroad for medical tourism. Because that one is the biggest hate speech on with the masses.
Okay.
And anybody that tries should go by hanging. That's what I would have loved that man to do.
Okay.
Taking our money outside to go and treat themselves. Why a woman in the labor room loot now is dying there, no Panadol to give the woman. That's what I would love that man to introduce. Not to go and waste our tax money. And I pray that bill will never see the light of the day. Thank you, Sandra.
All right, Comrade Ibe, thanks for calling back. Our second story, quite controversial. It's rocking the All Progressives Congress as the Edo State chapter announced that it has suspended the national party chairman, Comrade Adams Oshomole. The state party chairman announced the decision to suspend Oshomole, who is also a former two-term governor of the state under the party banner. The state party said the suspension came after the 18-party LGA chairman in the state passed a vote of no confidence in Oshomole, blaming him for the crisis that has rocked the state party. Immediately after the announcement, the Progressive Governors Forum, the Association of APC Governors, called on Oshomole to call a meeting of the party's National Executive Council, NEC, or resign. The governors faulted Oshomole's reluctance to consult the apex organs of the party. But it wasn't all bad news for Oshomole. The Abia State chapter of the APC has called his suspension illegal, claiming that it did not follow due process. The Abia State APC claims the party constitution demands that a suspension can only be initiated by the party members' ward chapter before being approved by the local government area chapter and then ratified by the state party. Here we go. I don't think we've ever had a situation since 1999 where the chairman of the ruling party did not end up in a very heated battle. You know, did not end up locked in a very heated battle with other forces in his party. I don't think that's ever happened. Oshomole's predecessor, if you remember, as APC chairman, John Oyegun, he had very similar problems. When PDP was in power, we witnessed so many rebellions under their party chairman, Moazu, Bamanga Tuko, Modo, Amadu Ali. It was one fight after another. In fact, some analysts tell us that it was the fight between Bamanga Tuka and the PDP governors that was instrumental in some of them defecting to the APC, which contributed to the party's loss of power in 2015 after Tuka himself had left the post. And here again, we're seeing governors of a ruling party standing up to the chairman of the ruling party. They've told him to do what they say or resign. Now, we're not getting into the politics of this. I don't want us to get into the politics of this, or whether or not Oshomole was properly suspended, or whether he's indeed the one behind the crisis in the party in Edo State. I don't want us to focus on that. I want us to look at the crisis in Nigerian political parties in general. Let's look at that. Can we look at that? Why are our parties so volatile? Why do you think our party leaders seem to have such difficulties keeping the peace? Why are the party members so rebellious against party leadership? We don't see this level of instability and crisis in other countries. We don't see all these suspensions and impeachments and factions and splinter parties and court cases. So why is Nigerian party politics so toxic? Now we've got comments on Facebook. Remember, I said that WhatsApp isn't working great. So if you want to leave us comments as we're taking the stories, because at 4:45 we're moving over to the Raleigh Academy studio. Get on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3, and leave your thoughts for us there. Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. All right. So we've got a comment from Eden. Eden Anefu says, actually, can this program help in stopping this bill? Because I don't like such law. There are other issues that need more attention in Nigeria than this so-called hate speech. There are police issues, pothole issues, corruption issues, etc. If they sponsor bills to checkmate the responsibilities, administration, and stewardship of our government and public activities, it would have helped develop Nigeria for the better. Prince Daniel Ating says, good afternoon, Sandra. I believe they should get ready to jail or even kill all Nigerians, as we're going to set a common people's parliament to enact laws to stone corrupt politicians. Please, let's not stone anybody. Ata Njama says, I can see that these people don't have jobs anymore. Any bill that will benefit society will suffer setbacks. What happened to the petroleum bill up until now? But they are ready to pass bills that will stop society from criticizing them. Where is hope of this nation? Robert Patrick says, death penalty for hate speech in Nigeria. There should be another way to serve as punishment so that hate speech will soon become a felonious offense in Nigeria. Our senators, Nigerians don't deserve this, please. Mr. Adebayo on Facebook says, good afternoon, Sandra. Between hate speech and corruption, which one should attract death penalty? All right, keep those comments coming in via Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. Our final story is a happy story. A 12-year-old Nigerian boy living in the UK has won a prize for a discovery in mathematics. Mathematics. The news was shared by the Twitter handle of NIDCOM, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. NIDCOM tweeted, quote, congratulations to Master Chika Ofili, a 12-year-old Nigerian boy based in the UK who just received the True Little Hero Award for making a new discovery in mathematics by discovering a new formula for divisibility by 7 in mathematics. The tweet also shows a picture of young Chika Ofili receiving his award. I love when we can have a feel-good story like this. So congratulations to you, Chika. Keep on crunching those numbers, because let me tell you, I'm not going to crunch them, because everybody that knows me and listens to the show, you know how much I hate math. But the story got me thinking. How many Chika Ofilis are here in Nigeria? Hundreds of thousands, probably. We probably have so many gifted children in various fields whose talents are going unnoticed. Chika Ofili got discovered because he was in the UK. His school gave him the opportunity to experiment and figure things out. I'm trying to remember what my math classes were like as a 12-year-old in Enugu. I'm trying to remember. Did my teachers give me the room to experiment and play with the numbers and make mistakes, but learn something powerful, or did they beat the curiosity out of me? And I'm wondering how it was for you when you were in school. Did you have room to discover yourself and find out what you were good at? Did our schools give you the confidence in yourself? Did you have the equipment and the tools and the advanced books that you needed to unleash your potential? How about our kids today? Do they have it? Do our kids today have all those things? And it's not just in math or even in education. Every day I read about Nigerians abroad conquering so many fields. It almost seems like once we go abroad, the sky becomes our limit, you know? Or let's bring it home. Look at the Super Eagles squad. More and more, the players making the squad are Nigerians who were born and raised abroad, who trained abroad. It's almost as if Nigeria is losing the ability to bring the best out of its people. So it's sending us abroad instead to grow. What are your thoughts? Do you think Nigeria does a good job of tapping our potential? Why do Nigerians abroad seem to be having so much more success, while Nigeria itself is improving very slowly? Share your thoughts with me on Facebook. Facebook again is Nigeria Info 99.3. Adekoya Toyosi says, death sentence for hate speech while looters walk free. They should remember that the bill will be used against them if they are no longer in power. Olubolade Akingbemila says, all these cooked up to continue to stay in power unchallenged. Okay, we have another message here that says, Sandra, you see, until we all understand that this country is not for all of us, the better. Some of us have to find our way out because everything... Okay. All right, so I'm not going to keep reading that message so I don't get into trouble for reading that message. That's the thing with taking messages on Facebook. It goes everywhere. But hey, go and send it there, okay? Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. I have to leave the studio now for the guys from Raleigh Academy because they need to tell you how you can make money from Forex. But don't worry, one of these stories will appear on I Beg to Differ today at 6. Immediately after the news at 6:15, we're going to debate about one of the topics on the Big Three today. So make sure that you're still here after that. And when we are done, immediately after Raleigh Academy is done today, let's have conversations about the pressure on people to have children, men and women, but most especially women, the pressure to have children. Let's have that conversation on the glass ceiling. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
99.3 Nigeria Info.